everyone, it's Hailey, and today I'm going to be doing a book haul specifically of all the adult romance books that I've bought this year. So it's actually been a while since I've done a book haul. I haven't really been doing them recently, not because I haven't been buying books, I just for some reason have been like saving them, so my next book haul is going to be giant, but I figured since I have gotten so many adult romance books that it made sense to do them in a separate video, because if you didn't know, which obviously means you haven't watched my videos in a while, which is fine, but I've gotten into adult romance recently and it has been one of my favorite things to read. So my collection went from 0 to 20 books here that I have to talk about, and I've actually read quite a few of them, although I just picked up a bunch this weekend, so there's quite a few that I haven't read yet either, but I'm very excited to get to all of them. The thing is, I read them so quickly that I like buy them all in bulk and I'm like, yes, like I need all of them, and then I devour them and then I don't have any. So it's like this vicious cycle of wanting to have them but also reading them way too quickly, and like wanting to read them but also wanting to save them and savor them. You know, there's no winning really. But I have a very specific kind of adult romance that I like. I don't really like too much smut. I like a certain level of smut, and I like the cuteness, and I'm very particular about what they look like on the outside as well. I know that's super superficial, but like I don't like the little like mass market paperbacks or like the corny covers with like the guy like embracing the girl and she's all like in like a dress like swooning, you know, that's not my thing. I hope my reenactment of that cover really helped you picture it, you know, like pretend this is the guy. It's like, like that's what the cover looks like. They all look like that. But what I like is the adult romances with like the illustrated covers and stuff like that. Those make me happy. They're cute, and they're usually cute on the inside too. I've had some that I haven't liked, but I have had some really good luck with it. So let's just get into the adult romances that I have gotten recently. And since, like I said, I have read quite a few of these, I will have links to my recent reads videos down below for you guys with like specific timestamps for a particular book if you wanted to know more of my thoughts on them. So I'm going to start off with the adult romance book that started it all. This is where my downfall, or really rise to the top, began, and that was with Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. This was recommended to me by Zoe. She, in her Goodreads review, said that this was clench his fist, so cute. And I was like, you know what? I really need something cute. This was before I had a boyfriend, so I was like, my life has no romance, so I need to read a lot of romance. But now, like, I still really like reading romance, but this was like my go-to when I had no romance in my life. I was like, yes, this is what I need, and this just, it was, oh, chef's kiss, so good. I definitely have talked about this in a recent reads video, and I've talked about it quite a bit, but like, this is still probably my favorite so far, and I think just because like the characters meshed with me so well that I was like, this is perfect and everything that I want, and it was just adorable. So this follows Hazel, who's like really weird and a lot for most people to handle. So she's been single for a while because guys are kind of like afraid of her, and like she has this army of pets, which is like so amazing. But she's known Josh for a while now, and they end up meeting up again when they're older, and she is like determined to become his best friend. She's like, no, we have to be best friends. It's gonna happen. So it's like a friends to lovers story, and like an old childhood sort of, not really childhood, but like an old romance that never happened rekindled, which are like two of my favorite tropes ever. And Josh is also just such a good character, and their chemistry was amazing. It like flew off the page, but they're definite opposites. Like Josh is very like mellow and very like by the book sort of. Meanwhile, Hazel like has thrown away the book and is like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. So seeing them come together and form this adorable relationship just made me so happy, and that is what made me want more adult romance in my life. So I guess while we're on the topic, here are all the Christina Lauren books that I've gotten. So Christina Lauren is an author duo actually, so if you didn't know, it's 2 authors, which I did not know, and then when I found out, I was mind blown. So I hope I just blew your mind there if you already knew. Whatever, now you know again. But I went and picked up all of their books that interested me. They also have like this Beautiful Bastard series that does not interest me. That's like a little bit too much for me. I'm not very into like the office romance sort of thing, but their most recent book that I have here is The Unhoneymooners. So this came out in May, I believe. But this follows Olive, who has been very unlucky her entire life. She always has things go wrong, but then her twin sister, on the other hand, has always been super lucky. So her twin sister planned this wedding and was determined determined not to have to pay for anything and was determined to basically win everything. And she did that, but then things end up going very horribly wrong at the wedding and everyone gets sick. So then she's not able to go on the honeymoon to Hawaii that she won. So instead, Olive goes, and Olive has to go with her nemesis, who is the best man and brother of the groom. Why is that so hard for me to explain? But his name is Ethan. So they go on this free honeymoon pretending to be a couple. So we have that whole fake dating situation, which is another trope that I really like. And the fact that it's set in like this tropical setting was just so much fun. I've also read this. I've actually read all the Christina Lauren books that I have. But the Hawaiian setting of this made it the perfect book for summertime. Definitely if you want to keep summer alive and you want fall to stay away for a little bit, even though you want sweater weather, like you still want to be able to enjoy summer, if that makes sense. I got you. I don't think that really made sense, but definitely check out this book because I think it will do that for you. Next is my favorite half night stand, which was probably the one that surprised me the most with how much I enjoyed it. So it's about this girl, what is her name? Millie, and Millie is a professor and she is friends with a bunch of guys who are also professors, and they have this big event that's happening at the end of the year and Obama is going to be the guest speaker. So they're all like, we need to get dates, like this is going to be epic. So they sign up for this online dating website or app, but they're all kind of helping each other out. But there's kind of some drama there because Millie has just hooked up with Reed, who is one of her friends and one of the members of this group, and none of the other guys know that, and it is just like this whole thing. And Millie's not very good at getting personal, so she's very relatable for me. But they end up actually matching with each other, but they don't know that it's each other. So like you basically know this whole entire book that it's like this ticking time bomb. You know that things are gonna go wrong and that it cannot last, and it still was really enjoyable read. I liked the chemistry between all the characters and had a lot of fun reading it. This I definitely would say is like the quickest and most mindless of the Christina Lauren books that I've read. Next is Roomies, which is my least favorite, but this follows Holland, and Holland always goes to this same subway stop because there's this guy who plays his guitar and she thinks he's just the cutest, and she has like made up this whole fantasy about him. But then this accident happens and he ends up saving her life, and she wants to repay him, so she ends up using her connections to Broadway to get him a role. And the problem is he's not in the States legally, so he's Irish and he never renewed his visa. He's there on a student visa, so they get married so then he can take this role. And it's obviously a marriage like just for that, but you know, there's this like uncomfortable thing where like, you know, she has a crush on him, so there's kind of that layer where like he doesn't know that and you're like, ugh. So the relationship was kind of hard for me to get behind in this one, but I did love the musical aspect of it and it was good, but definitely not my favorite. So if you were gonna skip any of them, I would say skip this one probably, just my personal opinion. And the final one is Love in Other Words. So I got this one and my favorite half night stand used when I was in California. I feel like romance books are really easy to get used because a lot of romance readers like read them and then are like, okay, I'm done, like moving on to the next thing. So they put them in used bookstores. So definitely check out used bookstores if you are looking for romance reads, because honestly they'll have some like pretty recent stuff usually. But this is the most different of their books. This was a very hard-hitting and emotional story, and I loved it so much. So this follows Macy, who has a routine. She has her life figured out, but it's all very plain and kind of lackluster and vanilla. But all of that changes when she runs into her old childhood friend and first love, Elliot, and they end up unable to be separated from each other. And it's told in alternating perspectives from then and now, which like made for this fully well-rounded story where I felt like I was just reading, like, it kind of reminds me of The Notebook, which I've never actually read the book, but like it reminded me of the movie a little bit. Not quite as sad, but like definitely still really emotional and impactful. It's also like a book lover's romance because they love books and like they're nerds, and it's just, oh, it's so cute. Definitely check this one out, especially if you want to cry or you want something really emotional. So now I'm not really going in any particular order. I'm just picking shit up off of my bed. So next is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This book has been so hyped and it definitely lived up to that for me. It was great, fantastic. I've talked about it quite a bit in recent videos, so I'm not going to get too into depth about it, but it is about the son of the President of the United States falling in love with the Prince of Wales, and it's adorable. it's heartwarming, so funny, and just overall fantastic. So definitely check it out if you are looking for something cute and amazing. And it also features gay and bisexual representation, which is really important. So definitely pick it up. Next, I picked up 3 books by the same author because quite a few people had been recommending her to me. So that is K.A. Tucker. So I picked up Until It Fades, Say You Still Love Me, which is a brand new one, I believe. I think it just came out this past month, or if not this past summer, and then The Simple Wild. So I'm not sure if all of these are, but I think that one of them, at least this one, is set in Alaska. The author is Canadian, or at least lives in Toronto, which is awesome. And what people were saying was that they are emotional and hard-hitting romances, which is something that I really like. Like, I like stuff like Love and Other Words, where it's really fun and cute, but there's also that level of impactfulness to it, which is really funny because, like, I run away from my feelings at all costs, yet with books, I really like reading about them. That doesn't make any sense, but why would I ever make sense? But I'm super eager to get to all of these. Like I said, I'm honestly not really sure what they're about. I just know so many people had been recommending them to me, and I was kind of interested in them, so I just went out on a limb and picked them up the other day because I was trying to distract myself from book edits, so I went on a shopping spree and got all of these. This one is apparently about an ambitious executive who reconnects with her first love, the boy who broke her heart. That sounds like everything that I want because I love when a romance was rekindled and like never happened but could happen now. Yeah, I like that. I said that sentence like an idiot, but you get what I mean. This one is about a truck stop waitress and single mother, and she ends up saving a man's life. What? It's a hockey icon in media, darling. Oh my god, this is so Canadian. Of course it's a hockey icon. I love it. There's an immediate connection between the two of them. Ooh! I was reading the back of Until It Fades, by the way, but this one, The Simple Wild, is the one that is set in Alaska. So I'm not really sure what to expect from any of these, but I would say that this seems like the one that I will start with because it seems the most intriguing to me. Next is The Kiss Quotient and The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. So these are companions. I have read The Kiss Quotient. I thought it was really good. It features representation for autism spectrum disorder and it is own voices as well, as does this book. But we follow one of the characters from this book in this book, but they are the main character in this one, and I will be getting to this one hopefully soon. But The Kiss Quotient really surprised me because when I found out what it was about, I wasn't sure if it would be a little bit too smutty for me, but it was actually like the perfect level of smut. I think any more than that and I would be like, nope, but I really enjoyed it. So it features the main character who has never really been good at relationships and especially not good at the sex aspect of relationships. So she hires a male escort to teach her all about that, but they end up kindling this relationship and it is just, oh, it's very, very lovely. So since I enjoyed this one so much, I'm very much looking forward to getting into this one. Next is Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. So with this one, I was expecting something kind of really easygoing, light and fluffy, but it's actually a pretty heavy read and can be kind of dark at times. But it follows this guy who went to law school with this girl and they had like this friendly competition all throughout school, and then there was kind of this thing that happened that ended up breaking off their sort of competition, friendly sort of thing, and it became like real competition. But then they don't see each other for a while until 8 years later he shows up at her law firm seeking legal advice for his 13-year-old sister. So they try and keep things professional, but then things kind of start getting a little bit steamy. I don't know what this was, but like it happened, whatever. I talked about this quite a bit in a recent reads video, so I'm not sure if this video is going up first or that one, but I will link it down below once it does. But I felt very average about this. I feel like it was trying to be something that it wasn't, and that the cover and the title are kind of selling a different book than what I got, but I did really like the family dynamics and having the 13-year-old sister involved in the relationship. Those were my favorite parts, but overall it was kind of meh. Next is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This one, I had heard so many good things about it. Like, it was absolutely everywhere, and my expectations were really high because of that, but I think what it is people just really love the enemies to lovers thing, and it's not one of my favorite tropes, but I did enjoy this one. So Lucy and Josh work at this publisher, and they have been rivals forever, and then they're both up for a promotion, and while that's happening, they end up kindling a romance, a sort of like enemies to lovers thing, you know? I just sounded so Canadian when I said that. But they sort of had like this office game made out of hating each other, which was really interesting to read about. I think my main issue was like I felt like the foundation of the hatred and the enemies thing wasn't as strong as it could have been, but I did like their workplace and that coming into play and the whole promotion thing. But I did try and read 99% Mine, Sally Thorne's other book, and that one I ended up DNFing, didn't like it at all. So if you're gonna try one out, definitely try this one. So those are all the ones that I have read. Now the last few are ones that I haven't read yet and I kind of just picked up on a whim. So first is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. I was seeing this everywhere and it's been getting such great reviews. I actually posted an Instagram post and I asked people what a book that they had read recently that made them smile was, and multiple people commented saying this book, so I was like, you know what? I think I need to check it out. So it's a romance that is set at a Renaissance fair, which I don't really know how I feel about Renaissance fairs. Like, I've never really been to one and I've never read anything set in that setting, so I'm very intrigued by it. The cover is so cute. I really love it, and like I said, so many people were saying that they really liked it, so I definitely have pretty high expectations going into this one. So the town is called Willow Creek, Maryland, which Willow Creek just makes me think of Sims 4. There's the town that's called Willow Creek. So now I'm just gonna picture Sims the entire time. What else is new? My life is just Sims. Next is The Key to Happily Ever After by Tiff Marcelo. Honestly, I hadn't seen anything about this one. I was just in the bookstore walking through the romance section, just perusing, seeing if there was anything that I hadn't heard of that was interesting to me, and I picked this one up, and on the back it says, a charming romantic tale about three sisters who are struggling to keep the family wedding planning business afloat while trying to write their own happily ever afters in the process. I was like, oh my god, this is everything I want. Like, wedding planning business sounds great, like the whole wedding setting. I love that. I've been to so many weddings in my lifetime because I have a huge family. But then we have the three sisters, which I'm like, I love reading about sisters. I love everything about that. So I was like, yes, I need to give this a go. So I picked it up and I'm very excited to get to it. Next is The Right Swipe by Alisha Ray. So this is about a girl who owns a dating app. So she is the CEO of this big dating app, and her love life has kind of suffered because of that, but she abides by some rules with her own online dating. So nude pics are by invitation only. If someone stands you up, block them with extreme prejudice and protect your heart. So she's very cynical, and I love a good cynical character, and the idea of her having her own dating app, like, that sounds amazing. So I'm really excited for this one too. And I feel like I've said that about all of these, but honestly I am. Next is Fight or Flight by Samantha Young. This is actually the author of On Dublin Street, which quite a few people have also recommended to me, but I haven't gotten the chance to pick that one up yet. But this seems like it's going to be another sort of enemies to lovers story, and it features an arrogant Scotsman, and their antagonism somehow lands them in bed for the steamiest layover Ava's ever had. Oh! So obviously, since this is a whole book, it's not going to be just a one-time occurrence, and I'm very interested to see how that's going to work out with like the distance thing and like how they are going to get back together again after that steamy night. Next is The Accidental Beauty Queen by Teri Wilson. I'm not gonna lie, this one was 100% a cover buy because I was like, she has a book on her head, so like, that's so bad, but like, that's honestly what made me want to pick it up. But it's actually about twin sisters. So the one is a librarian who is content to live her life through the pages of books, which is so relatable, and then the other one is an Instagram beauty queen. So the two of them are identical twins, and there ends up being this whole thing that happens when then they have to have a little switcheroo thing, and that just sounds like a recipe for disaster but also hilarity, so I'm excited. And the final book I have to talk about is Love at First Like by Hannah Orenstein. The cover makes me laugh because it just makes me think of those, like, what was it, Tumblr posts where like it's like the, like, you know, that, and I remember being a teenager and being like, oh, romance, swoon. But this is about the owner of a jewelry shop in Brooklyn, and she accidentally posts a picture of her with an engagement ring on, and it goes viral and like a bunch of people end up buying it, so then she has to kind of like fake this fiance thing, and she has an ex that's like watching this whole thing happen, and it just sounds like it's gonna go bad, but like it'll be fun to read about. So those are all of the romance books that I have picked up recently. I'm sorry that I couldn't give you a really good summary for them. I honestly really like to just go into romance books blind and not really think about what they're about. Actually, I forgot to haul one. This got lost in the pile, but The Wedding Date by Jasmine Gilroy, which I have read and I wasn't a fan of, but it's about this guy who's supposed to stand up in this wedding and he doesn't have a date, so then and he meets this random girl and they end up going together, and I talk about it a lot in a recent reads video, so you can kind of see that. I mean, I don't really talk about it a lot. I just found it very forgettable, to be honest. But I almost forgot to mention it, but now you know, I bought this one. So that is actually all the books that I've gotten recently. I've just been so into adult romances because they're quick and easy and just super simple to read when I'm in edits. It's just glorious to kind of have that escape. But please let me know if you have read any of these, your thoughts on them, or if you have any recommendations for me. I'm definitely open to them, especially since I'm still new to the genre. I am always looking for new recommendations, so please help me. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click that subscribe button. I post new videos every week, and you can also follow me on all of my social media. All of my handles and links will be down below for you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!